What's the scariest thing going on in our world right now that not enough people know talk about? Not the scariest, but a lot of the people who helped clean up the BP oil spill from Horizon are suffering long-term medical issues. Their case has been essentially swept under the rug. Superbug STDs and other superbug infections. An incurable gonorrhea is now a thing. The amount of microplastics, medicine and unkillable pathogens in wastewater treatment, due to the relatively low medicine concentrations, bacteria and viruses are building up resilience against the common antibacterial and antiviral medicine, which will eventually form a superpathogen that requires a totally new production method. Microplastics are very destructive to aquatic life and will do a lot of damage to the marine life. Water in general will be the new oil due to climate change, so that won't be fun either. Edit 1. Changed a spelling mistake. Edit 2. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm a student in this field and I probably made some mistakes in my formulation and in some facts. Some experts have commented below, so do read those comments for a better and more accurate explanation. The insects are dying. The sterilization crisis in the medical device industry and how it impacts our access to safe medical products, and on top of that how major companies have been off-gassing toxic ethylene oxide gas that has been causing cancer in people who live next to factories for years and no one gave a shit. The collapse of the insect population. Antibiotic resistance and the overprescribing of them. I don't think this gets talked about nearly enough and it's already a problem. I remember reading an article recently that said in the future antibiotic-resistant bacteria-related deaths will surpass cancer deaths. Thanks for all the anxiety, everyone. Prion diseases like chronic wasting syndrome. Erosion of personal privacy. I'm not sure if it's the scariest for the short term, but the death of reality. By that I mean how almost every person giving us information, news, blogs, etc. is fabricating or obscuring the truth for better profits. They understand anger keeps people interested in coming back and go to disturbing lengths to push for those narratives. Trying to follow a news story most of the time is jumping from hyperlink to hyperlink between different news sites with no originating source to be found. I've seen a TED talk where the speaker openly mocked any sort of critical discourse of his topic that went unnoticed or uncaring. I thought Vice was pretty good, but they also started being openly biased and made me question their authenticity. Unbiased journalism is dying, as far as I can see, and it's rarely discussed. I think the scariest thing is that everyone is talking about things that should terrify us, but we're all too apathetic to care. Last night I watched the documentary Dark Money on Amazon Prime. It focuses on Montana as a microcosm of how corporate interests are attempting to wind back the clock to the days when a company could control government. Basically, they look back at the company town mentality of 100 years ago and the model where wealthy business owners could buy an entire legislature and say that's awesome, let's do that. Checks and balances, oversight, journalism, some form of structure that would stave off corrupt practices. They're working towards a paradigm where none of that is active and democracy is as dead as last year's flowers. Right here in the land of the free. In the frozen ice of Antarctica there are really old bacteria, older than humans. If the ice melts then those bacteria would release, and since nobody is resistant against them, who knows what's gonna happen. The Argus's real-time surveillance system can fly for months at a time and has a camera array that can track every moving object even a few inches small in a 36 square mile radius. It streams 6,000 terabytes of footage a day and all of it is processed real-time for asset and target location on the ground. They're used domestically and internationally. If you live in DC, Maryland, or Northern Val, chances are there's at least one tracking you right now and recording all your movements into a threat assessment database.